I know a lot of you are here at the earlier service today so you can get home and watch the World Cup. And I'm trying to be a citizen of the world, but I hate soccer. I hate it. 90 minutes. If you can't kick it in, pick it up and throw it. I know, I've just hacked off all the soccer fans. I can't do it. I've tried. Paul Tillich was a theologian of the early 20th century, and Tillich was famous for his phrase, ultimate concern. He defined faith. He was one of those theologians who thought we had worn out all of our Christian words, and he gave new definitions that he thought were more appropriate to where we were in human history to help our people understand what they were dealing with when we said words like faith. So for him, faith was the state of ultimate concern. What are those things that you are ultimately focused on? Those things that drive you to make your decisions or focus your life, those things that give your life meaning and power. What is it that you think most about? This ultimate concern. Interesting. If you stop a man in the street and an average citizen of the United States, and you would ask them what their ultimate concern was, inevitably it'd be about the economy. Or some facet of it. Either they were worried about whether or not the economy was going to turn around or whether or not the job market would come back with some kind of vibrancy. But it would be some facet of the American dream. How can I get into a situation where I can be more successful? How can I get into a place where I can determine my own destiny? All of us have that dream that one day we'll have enough resources that we'll be able to make our own decisions without any kind of reference or encumbrance on anybody else. The Marlboro Man is the guy that we all want to be on. But Marlboro Man is always by himself. There's no family, and there's no community. We want to be that guy who can ride off by himself into the sunset. That's the American dream. I am my own captain of my soul. I'm the one who makes my decisions. But isn't that a really lonely way to live? I mean, just you and your horse? If you were to ask Jesus, as he was, about what are those things that he was ultimately concerned about, he would say something like doing the will of the Father, laying his life down for the sake of the sheep. Those are the things that you would hear from Jesus as recorded for us in the gospel stories. These answers, the one that we would normally give and the one that Jesus gave, they are not the same answers. We shouldn't be surprised. Jesus told us they wouldn't be. One of the times that we find out the difference is in a conversation between Jesus and the governor of Judea, Pontius Pilate. It's recorded in the 18th chapter of John. Stand with me now in honor of God's word. You'll see the page number of the Pew Bible, should you choose to use that. Pilate then went back inside the palace and summoned Jesus and asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "Is that your own idea?" Jesus asked. "Or did others talk to you about me?" "Am I a Jew?" Pilate replied. "It is your own people and your chief priests who have handed you over to me. What is it that you've done?" And Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jews. But now my kingdom is from another place." "You are a king then," said Pilate. Jesus answered, "You are right in saying that I am a king. In fact, for this reason I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. And everyone on the side of the truth listens to me. This is the reason for which I was born. This is the reason I came into the world. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways not your ways, says the Lord Almighty. For as high as heaven is above the earth, so my ways are above your ways, and my thoughts above your thoughts. This is God's word for God's people. Hear it, believe it, and live. Let's pray together. If you were to stand in front of us, as you did that day in front of Pilate, and to tell us that you are indeed a king, would we have gotten it? Would we understand? Would we believe? We pray, Father, in this moment as you confront us, then our response will be much, much different than Pilate's. We pray this in your name. Amen. Things were getting dicey for Pilate. He was caught in a political trap. He needed a way out. Pilate was a survivor. He was a very savvy politician. He knew how to handle Rome and how to skirt through all of the complications. But now he was being put on the spot, and he didn't like it. He was not comfortable with Jesus, not at all. His wife had been having dreams to have nothing to do with this man. He wanted to find a way to get rid of Jesus, to get him out of his life. But the Jews wouldn't let him do that. The religious leaders of the day kept pushing Jesus back in front of Pilate, demanding that Pilate make a decision. He claims to be the king, they would tell him, and if you decide to let Jesus go, then you are no friend of Caesar, because this man has made claims in opposition of Caesar. This is not the only time that this question would come up. It would come up a lot. In fact, we think one of the things that motivated Luke to write Luke and Acts is that he was trying to give a defense of the Christian faith to the Roman leaders, and that Theophilus was a person somewhere in the Roman hierarchy that could help make the defense for Paul, that Paul's preaching and the kingdom of God that he proclaimed was not a political threat to the Roman Empire. But now Pilate was on the spot. He had to make a call, and he's looking for some kind of way, for Jesus to say something so he can justify his next act. So he goes and presses the issue. This is the essential question. This is the only question that matters. So it's the question that Pilate asked. Are you the king of the Jews? It's what your people are saying that you've said. It's the charge that they bring against you. Is it the true charge? Are you the king? If Jesus says yes, Pilate has his cover. This man is a traitor. He has raised up a kingdom against the authority of Rome. He must be dealt with. If Jesus says no, Pilate has his cover. He doesn't claim to be a king. He's not raising a kingdom up against Rome, and I can release him. And I have the cover I need for the decision I want to make. But just like Jesus, he doesn't answer either way. He walks that middle ground, still forcing Pilate to make the choice on his own. How many times do people try to put Jesus on the spot with a question, only to have him turn the question back around? Should we pay taxes to Caesar? They demanded. Whose image is on the coin? Jesus asked. Caesar's. You can almost see Jesus shrug when he answers back. Then give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and give to God what is God's. The angry crowd gathered around him, stones in hand. This woman was caught in adultery, they shouted at Jesus. The law of Moses said we should stone her. What do you say? You can almost see Jesus sigh as he kneels down and begins to write in the sand. Fine. It's just the one of you who doesn't have sin can throw the first stone. How loud the dropping of the stones must have been, and the silence of the enemies of Jesus. Are you king? Is that your decision? Or did somebody else tell you to ask me that? Is that your question? Are you the one who wants to know? Or are you still playing this political game? Tell me, Pilate, is this your question? Or is it somebody else's? What is what your people say about you? Well, you're right to say I'm a king, but not a king like you think about, not a king like you know about. So Pilate jumps on the one word in the sentence that he can understand, king. I understand that. See, Pilate was a Roman governor. He understood how Rome worked, and Rome had its rules. Rome's rules were, if we want it, we take it. And if you oppose us, we destroy you. We'll come to you, we'll offer you terms of peace, we'll offer you a way to be a subject of the empire, but if you oppose us, we will wipe you off the face of the earth. That's what they did. Hannibal had the audacity to challenge Rome's authority and challenge Rome with an army of elephants. When they destroyed Carthage, the Roman soldiers plowed salt into the fields so that no one would ever be able to live there again. Pilate understood these rules. He understood what it was to have power, to be a king. If you want something, you take it. If you need something, you grab it. The one who has the power makes the rules. The one who has the gold, they make the rules. The one who dies with the most toys, they win. That's the way it is. And now you claim to be a king, but you have no army. You claim to be a king, but you have no throne. You claim to be a king, but you have no power. Or did he? You see, there is this uncomfortable moment for Pilate, this one who is sitting on the throne of the governor, this one who is sitting there with all of the symbols of power from Rome, who can literally declare Jesus to be alive or dead, who can, with a wave of his hand, decide the fate of Jesus, the one who has all the power of the Roman Empire at his fingertips, who is now powerless to make his own decision. The Jews have him trapped in his political game. If he does this, then he seems to be a traitor himself. If he makes this decision, then Rome itself will come against him. He's put it into a place where he wants to make one decision, but can't. Funny. This man who has all the power doesn't have any at all. And this one who seems to have no power has it all. They're going to kill you, Jesus. No one kills me. I lay down my life of my own free will. No one makes this choice for me. It's not that I've been arrested by the Jews. It's that I surrendered to the will of my Father in Gethsemane. That choice is already made. But they'll take your life. Can't take it. It's already given, but your life will mean nothing. It's not up to you to give my life meaning. My meaning will come from the Father itself. You see, Pilate was used to a king who had armies, who had soldiers, who had swords, who had spears, who had chariots. Jesus stands in front of Pilate in the power of love. Now, I know we all go, oh, great. I'd like to teach the world to sing. Is there anything else more insipid than somebody said the power of love? That's because what we've done to the word. Okay, we've ruined the word. And now we love everything. You know, we love each other. We love pizza. We love football. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Let's try to understand it. When Jesus talks about it, he's talking about the power that created the universe. He's talking about the power that holds the universe in place. He's talking about the power that called Lazarus back from the dead. He's talking about power that can take all the sins of the world and die with them in his body and carry them to the tomb and leave them there. He's talking about a power that can call dead back to life. He's talking about the power that in 1 Corinthians 13 that says love bears all things. We don't have a power like that. We don't understand that because few of us have it. It's all about image, isn't it? It's all about style. Very little about reality. It's all about us, because isn't the American dream about me, about what I want and what I need? But the kingdom of God is about Him and His glory and His power and His majesty. There's an interesting thing going on right now in our nation as we struggle through this economic downturn. And one of the things that's happened is people are beginning to wake up from this consumerism. And the people who stay up late at night and worry about the economy, and they haven't slept in a while, are trying to figure out how we can get people to buy things again. Because about, 60 or 70% of our economy is consumer driven. So now we have to stay up late at night and try to entice people to buy things they don't need. Do you know there's literally a book entitled Why People Buy Things They Don't Need? And there's this whole marketing strategy to get you and me to buy things that we don't need, but the economy says we have to have in order, don't you want to be successful? Because these are the marks of success. Now understand, according to most of the world, all of us are absurdly rich. You see, not many of us worry about whether or not our children will have safe drinking water. A lot of the world does. Not many of us will worry about whether or not our children will have enough to eat. Most of the world does. Our problem is our children are eating too much of the wrong things. Now we have discovered something in this economic downturn. We've discovered the joy of family life. And so you're now hearing families talk about staying at home and playing board games and enjoying very simple pleasures, and we have found out we like doing this. And maybe we don't need all this stuff. And so the economic drivers are in a panic, because what happens if we return to a more simple life? What does that do to the economy? What's happening now that husbands are finding out, maybe I don't have to work 60 or 70 hours a week? What happens when children find out, maybe I don't need the latest gadget? What happens when we get free from all of that stuff? Interesting, isn't it? A lot of us are waking up to the hard reality that a lot of the American dream is actually a nightmare. We have driven ourselves to the brink of destruction because we always think it's about more stuff. And it's not. You know what would be an interesting thing to do? To take a sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle and put Pilate on the title of one column and Jesus Christ on the other column, and write down all the things that you think describe Pilate and all the things that you think describe Jesus, and then look at that list and say, which one describes me? Because see, Pilate was a guy that all of us would at least admire. He was ruthless in the achievement of his goals, and if you got in his way, you paid the price. He went after what he wanted, and he wanted to be a player in the Roman Empire, so he did the necessary things to make his life a success. We celebrate these men and women, don't we? We do biographies on them. In the words of Tom Peters in his earliest book about excellence, the last paragraph says this: we have given you the outline of what it takes to be a success. But if you choose to do something else, you may be elected Father of the Year, but don't blame us if you're not successful. Don't blame us if you're not successful, when success has become defined in such a way by our culture that it is now demonic. It even happens in church. For our success as church leaders is defined by numbers. How else do you measure success? Is attendance continuing to grow? Do you have graphs and charts that show that little line going up and up and up? And sometimes friends will come from other churches or other organizations to see how we do things. And so we'll walk them through the facility, and we will tell them about Kairos, and we'll tell them about student worship, and we'll tell them about Vacation Bible School coming up, and we'll talk to them about how we do place and how we get our members engaged in ministry. And inevitably one of them will point to me and say, "You have done a great job," as if you didn't do anything at all, just me. And since you're not there to defend yourself, I, of course, take full credit. But what if Jesus doesn't measure success by a graph? What if Jesus measures success like a picture book? The same way you do as proud parents or proud grandparents when you stop me in the hall and say, "Have I showed you pictures of my child?" Sometimes you have, and I'll say yes, and you'll say, "It doesn't matter, I'm going to show you again." Here's my child. Here's my child eating oatmeal. Here's my child eating birthday cake. Here's my child. What if Jesus measures success by going, "Here's my child"? Here's my child when they understood how much I loved them. Here's my child when I understood that I have a name for them. Here's my child when they understood that I had created them for a purpose, that I have something for them to do, that I want to do something significant for the kingdom of God in them and through them. Here's my child. You see, success for the kingdom of God isn't numbers, it's transformed lives. It's people who look more and more like Him. Are you king? Yes, but not like you know. If I was a king like you knew, my servants would fight. Why aren't they fighting? Well, they are. They're fighting with a weapon that you don't understand, this weapon we call love. This love that restores dignity to broken lives. This love that gives identity to those who have been ruined by past mistakes and broken promises. It gives destiny and strength and hope to the lost, to the confused, to the wounded and the broken. We go to places that nobody else will go. We touch the lives of the people that society says have been lost forever and aren't worth our time or effort. Mother Teresa reminded us of that when she touched those that the world says was untouchable. That's where the kingdom is. And it can't be stopped by Rome. It can't be stopped by communism. We thought the church in China was gone. We thought that the purge had been so successful that there weren't any Christians, only to find out that there were millions of believers. Sometimes pastors would preach their entire life from one page of Scripture that had been smuggled in, and that's the only part of the Bible they had. So when you draw that line and you look at it, am I more like Pilate or are you more like Jesus? Pilate missed it. I'm praying you don't. Let's pray together.